Hello everyone, it is December 12, 2023, and welcome to another episode of Flossmas. I hope you all had a good start to the week. I had a little bit of a busy Monday, kind of a couple of meetings, meeting some new people, which always feels like it takes a little bit of extra energy in order to do, but I did have a couple of pleasant things as I was coming home. First of all, it's dark when I come home from work, but I do get to see all of the neighborhood lights lit up. My neighbors seem to be doing a really wonderful job of decorating, and it's so wonderful and cheery and warming to come home and to see those and to see the couple that I have up in my house on the outside as well. So I really enjoy getting to do that, pulling in every evening after work. And then I've also been receiving the last of my Jingle Ball shipments. So I had ordered a couple of things from the Jingle Ball, and I think at this point everything has arrived, and I will show you that in a future video, but it was just really cheerful to that's the word for the day apparently, is cheerful. It was just really pleasant to have those couple of things show up and remind me of the event that we all got to participate in not all that long ago. So with that, I think I will launch into our activities for the day. And that, of course, is starting with our FFO, something I've worked on in the past. And today's is this really charming little piece. And this is by the Trilogy, and it is a piece called Faith. And as you can see, it is a Christmas tree with the light at the top, and at the bottom there's a very tiny little nativity cradle. And this is a piece that I mentioned is published by the Trilogy. They're no longer designing together, but it is something that you can still find in stores and on the secondary market, depending on, I think it's not too hard to find their pieces still. And I had turned it into just a little bit of a pillow here. You'll remember I had used a similar fabric to this, a pink version, on some of my Lizzie Kate pieces. And so I thought the blue one was just really cheerful for this one. So this is something that goes up in my craft room, and it was a very simple stitch. It was a very quick one, but something I think is just really, really cute and very evocative of something with just a few stitches in it. So that is Faith by the Trilogy. And then in terms of things that I want to stitch in the future, I have another one of those days where I have two patterns to show you because I just couldn't pick between them. And this designer for today has become a very popular designer, is Frequently Stitched, although I don't think that I have actually stitched any of their pieces yet, not because I don't want to, but because they're a little larger than my usual. And so today is Plum Street Samplers, and this one is this Joyous Season. And I really love this one. It's got this gorgeous house, a very large house, and it says repeat the sounding joy, and it has some beautiful flowers on top, some really amazing trees. And I think that one of the things about Paulette Stewart's patterns is they look deceptively small. The packaging tends to be fairly small, and you think, oh, that's just an easy piece, I can knock that out. And then when you start looking at it, you're like, well, that's the largest house in the world. And this one in particular, I love because it's got so much patterning, and it's got all of those, the windows, but I will admit it's going to be a bit of a bear to actually stitch. But I think this is one that I will be very happy to have done when it is, just because the colors are just so beautiful. I love that kind of classic scene of the house in the winter time. So that is this Joyous Season. And then that was a more recent Plum Street pattern, and I have one that is much older, and this is a piece that I had noted many years ago, and I didn't purchase it, and I finally decided fairly recently, I said, I'm going to buy this because I'm worried that it's going to go out of print or it isn't going to be available, and I learned my lesson on that one, so I decided to go ahead and purchase this one, which is Favorite Spot Sampler. And of course it has the words from, it says bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens. I don't know exactly how that song became known as a Christmas song, but I hear it all the time on the radio at this time of the year, in addition to being from The Sound of Music. But one, as a musical fan, I really enjoy it. And I just think this one is really lovely in that prim style of the words, and then just those couple of little things. It would obviously be a very quick stitch, unlike this one. This one would be a very quick stitch, but two kind of different styles, different pieces by the same designer that I would like to stitch at some point. So those were our two stitch pieces by Plum Street Samplers. And then of course we have the advent calendar that I have been working on, and we are actually at number 12, which means we're halfway through all of this somehow. I don't know how that happened, but we are halfway through our celebration and our Flossmas series at this point. And so today we have a very merry little wreath. I think that one is just a really lovely addition. I got to use that darker red, which I think is really one of my favorites. I think it's the dark red and the dark green that just somehow are something that I enjoy stitching with. They're all lovely, but those are nice. This one, of course, had lots of French knots, but you know what? That's okay. We all survived a French knot experience. And again, a couple of the little numbers, which I enjoy. I was telling somebody at Stitch New England when we were there the other day, I was saying, I always forget to stitch the numbers. I get it all stitched and I think I'm done and I set it aside and I'm just getting it ready for showing to you all. And then I realized that I forgot to stitch the numbers. And so I have to open it up and re-stitch it, put it all back together. And someday I'm going to show you this and I will have actually forgotten the number. But today, fortunately, at the very last minute, was not that day. So that is our advent calendar for the day. And then I also want to show you the two advent calendars that we are opening up together. So I will start with Tom and Lily Creations threads. Oh, let's see. Calm. Oh, how lovely. Another dark color. It's a little bit dark in the house, so I think it's kind of a rich turquoise is I think what that color is. Gorgeous color. So wonderful. I've heard from several of you who are really enjoying these colors as much as I am as well. I think they're just so rich and vibrant. So definitely something I enjoy opening each morning. And then we also have our calendar from Historical Sampler Company and day 12 on that one. Oh, cute. They are just tiny little Santa hats. Oh my goodness, it's just a whole little pack of them. What should I do with these? These are also by Rico Design. I'm just like, they're adorable. And now I need to come up with 12 tiny little things that I can put Santa hats on because they're so adorable. I'm sure I could put on the edge of like some cross stitch on like a pillow. Can you imagine having a little pillow with just a tiny little Santa hat on it? Or a Santa stitch that has a Santa hat on it as a 3D. There are so many possibilities with this, but this is going to be delightful. So we've got some couple of Santa hats for today. How fun. And then the last thing that I want to show you today is, it's actually physically kind of big, but it is a very simple thing. But I was redecorating this room a couple of months ago. When I moved in, it was one of those things where I kind of just got a couple of things really quickly just to get in and get settled. This was a larger space than I had before. And so you know how you just get in and you don't really have enough stuff to fill the space that you have. And so for a while I was using that furniture and decorations, and in the last year or so, I've been kind of focusing on this room in particular in terms of decorations. And that's when I bought these chairs. I bought a new carpet, which Doc loves, and a few other things. But one of the things that I wanted was some artwork to go over my couch, which sits over there. And I really wanted a very large statement piece, like something that really drew attention. And I looked and looked, and there really wasn't anything that I liked. The few things that I liked were far out of my price range. And so I just kept thinking, what am I going to put here? I need something. You need to draw your eye to that part of the room. And then I thought, well, instead of doing one big piece, I could do a series of small pieces. And so I wound up going over and stopping at, among other places, I went to an antique shop nearby, and I found a couple of old prints and things like that that I really like. So I've hung those up on the wall, and I really like it. It's kind of like a collage of pieces that I like. But one of the things that I found when I was at the antique shop is something that I want to hang up in my guest room, and that's what I wanted to show you for today. So this is a hotel register from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And I grew up not far from Lancaster County. And so when I saw this, I was drawn immediately to Lancaster County, to Pennsylvania. And then I started looking at it, and a couple of things really drew my attention and made me fall in love with this piece. And it's actually, it's this whole piece that is clearly kind of a piece of paper taken out of a ledger, and it is double-sided. And as you can see, it's a printed sheet, and then they have kind of pasted a date on it. And of course, it has some advertisements on it as well, but they would paste it, and then you could have, people would write their name, and then when it was the next day, you would just paste another one, and that way you could track the register. And there are visitors who have signed into the register from, you know, no one from my hometown, but a number of people from places very close to near where I grew up. You have Reading, Pennsylvania, for example. If you've played Monopoly ever in your life, you played with the Reading Railroad. That is from Reading, Pennsylvania. There's Lidditz, Pennsylvania, back here. Lidditz is the home of the Sturgis Pretzel Factory, which is something I really enjoy. And so I was looking at this piece, and it was a little piece of home that I had found completely unexpectedly. And one of the other things that I really like is someone had been practicing their kind of printing and their writing, so you can see that they have repeated some of the words that you see. And so it's almost like a child was kind of practicing their handwriting or something on this. And they had something from another hotel there that was similar, but wasn't quite this one. And the reason I chose this one is because it's also from Christmas time. This is the ledger from the people who were staying in this hotel over Christmas in 1909. And I can't tell, you'll notice it jumps from December 24 to December 28. So I assume that means that the hotel actually closed down and not that people stayed overnight for multiple nights. But hopefully that was the family getting some relaxation time over the holidays. But I haven't researched it beyond that, but that's my assumption. But I just thought that this was such a neat look at an area of the country where I grew up that I have personal connection to, and to think about people at that time of year at Christmas, well over 100 years ago, kind of traveling through this area of a place that was so special to me too. And so I had to buy it, and it didn't have a price on it. And the person, I took it up, and he kind of said, $5? And I said, sure. And so I bought this. And what I intend to do is I'm going to frame this and hang it up in my guest room, because I think that this seems like the perfect kind of thing to have in my guest room to welcome visitors. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get a frame that's maybe double-sided if I can, so that if you want to, you can take a look at both sides of it, and I will unfold it when I have it framed. But this is something that I picked up, and I have been really looking forward to adding that. And I think it'll be just something special in my house. But of course, because it was around Christmas time, I really liked that in particular, that addition to it. And I wanted to share that with you. So always good to have a little reminder of Christmas wherever we are and wherever we call home. So with that, I will close out for the day. I hope that you have a good rest of your day. I will talk with you again tomorrow, and I will be with you then. Bye.